I would just like to comment. You know, we knew when we went into our negotiations, literally 4 or 5 years ago, starting with our first union symposium on a couple, just finishing up, I think, with our 5th and final union bargaining unit, soon to be ratified, hopefully. But when we entered when this board entered those negotiations some years back, it seems like yesterday, but it's actually been 4 years or so. We knew that it was going to be a very, very difficult challenge, and that we would have to impose on certain unions, and we thought we would, because we didn't think that they would come to an understanding with us, and that happened. But in the end, we achieved very, very good contracts with all our unions that, to my knowledge, no other county across the state of the 58 counties have achieved. And what I mean by that is that we were able to get the EPMC contribution from the employer, or excuse me, from the employee, no longer paid by the employee. We were able to get a second tier for new hires. And that's quite a feat. We knew going into this that it was going to cost us something, because you always have to give and take. We had to give, we took, the other side had to give and take. And, but in the end, we have a heck of a lot larger savings. And what I mentioned earlier, almost $1 billion over 10 years that we're going to achieve. So that's extremely critical. However, I would tend to agree with Mr. Ward. We need to look at this whole process Paul and Stan, our sheriff and DA, you know, our support has always been there for public safety, and will always continue to be there for public safety. The compaction issue, as Larry, our assessor, said, we've always tried to be fair in addressing that. But there are too many, and still too many uncertainties out there in our world. Supervisor Stone mentioned the state. They have a $16.5 billion, and I bet it's going to grow, gap to face. We may have some international issues that we're going to deal with completely out of our control that may impact our money market here in the United States. And that could be drastic to all of us. And so I think we're stepping forward a little bit too quickly here and saying that we're going to do this and that without looking at the whole budget. We have our first budget hearing next week. We have to adopt it sometime in September. And I think even carrying this over for three weeks is too short of a time period. I think we need to take it throughout the entire budget process, learn more about where the state's going, learn more about where the elections are moving along with that are out of our control at the state and federal level, and address it at that point in time. It's been difficult to get through these last 5 years. We still have a few months ahead of us. They're going to be difficult, and I think we can all deal with that appropriately. So it would be my desire, and I would move as an alternate motion to incorporate this into the entire budget process as we move along through, starting next week and through the summer, and not come back in 3 weeks, but do it as a whole, because all our managers, unrepresented, those that, from the clerks, unrepresented clerks and above, are doing a tremendous job in these very difficult times. They're doing more with less, but thankfully they have a job, and I think that's what we're forgetting. At least they have a job still. We're going to do our best. We have done our best to save those jobs. So I would move that we, as an alternate motion to Supervisor Stone's, that we take this throughout the summer budget process. Motion in a second on an alternate motion. Please vote. Supervisor. Motion is unanimous. All right, that concludes that item. Supervisor